Minister at Duke's Garage, and I'm here with Mike Owens, the manager here. And really it looks like a blast from the past with all these amazing classic cars. Mike, tell us about what you do here.
Well, we do a couple things. Historically, Duke's Garage has been in the business of car restoration and vintage antique sales. So you have a collection of Model A's, got a 64 GTO. More recently, the big focus we have has shifted to electric vehicles. So some people might have heard of Tesla or Nissan or GM Volt. So we think that there's a place for people who still like the classic cars, if you will, recycle the cars, extend their life, but apply sort of the cutting edge technology. So that model has since migrated. We've had a couple successes. We've worked with the city of Denver. We have some personal individuals who are just sort of fed up and want to go electric. And as you can see behind me, we basically have based it on kit vehicles. These are based on Porsche kit vehicles. They come from Bremen, Indiana, just 3 hours outside of Chicago. There's a gentleman there called Kevin Hines. He's been making these vehicles since 1986. And so we approached him saying we'd like to entertain two possibilities. One where we take your vehicles and sell them to people who like the old 1957 356, say, Porsche or a 550 Spider. And at the same time, we want to take his chassis, and rather than putting in a Volkswagen engine, we put in an electric motor.
That's awesome. So if someone comes off the street and they say, hey, I have this 1962 Bug, Volkswagen Bug, and it's not in the best condition, what would you suggest to them?
Well, we would say, look, we can make it electric, full stop. The issue for us is if the car has rust or just mechanical issues. But in many instances, yeah, our model basically says if you want to make any car electric, you can do it yourself with our help, or we can do it for you. We sell the parts, we sell the kits, we have the expertise. That's awesome.
So how long does it usually take for one of these cars to recharge?
Well, we have a 70-77 goal. It takes 7 hours to charge, so basically come home at night, plug it in, it's ready to go the next day. The range of the vehicles our goal is 70 miles. We have instances where we've broken that. Our own range record is 78 miles on a single charge. And the top speed being 70 miles per hour, so you can take these vehicles on the freeway. Although, the focus is really looking at people in a two-car family. Our model is basically, mom doesn't need a 4,000-pound truck to get a haircut. So if you're just doing 5-10 mile routes and you want to have a bit of style and a bit of, be unique, and at the same time, you're fed up going to gas stations or you're fed up with the political situation, we think we're an option for that.
So muscle cars are usually known for their horsepower and their engine, their loudness. Tell me, how are people going to get the same effect of this sports car with an electric motor?
Well, yeah, first of all, we don't discriminate. I mean, I still like the sound of a roaring engine, so I don't see these as contradictory. And as you can see in some of our vehicles, we have some of those. But at the same time, electrical vehicle technology has a lot of advantages over these vehicles. And the number one is 100% torque at 0 RPM. So if you want to pull up a stoplight and basically, beat the pants off somebody, electric vehicle technology actually is better than the traditional technology. And even if you go on YouTube, you can see some people, who can they just outspeed Ferraris and Corvettes. So that, in these vehicles, you'd definitely have that under the hood. At the same time, there's another technology which is AC regeneration, and some people know about this, but for those who don't, the idea is that anytime the wheels are spinning, they actually are generating electricity. So in instances where you're coming to a halt, the vehicle, you have the option of using the brakes, but the way these cars have been designed, you usually don't need to. In fact, the energy is then transferred to recharging the car. So in many instances, the vehicle is doing engine braking like a traditional sports car, but in this instance, it's not wasting the fuel, it's actually recharging the car and extending its range.
So now we were talking earlier, and not only have you collaborated with the University of Boulder and everything, what are you doing with the meter-made trucks and cars?
Right. We had a neat project. The city of Denver, awarded us a project. They wanted to show some green initiative. So the idea we came up with is they had a right-hand drive Jeep Wrangler. This is a vehicle that, it's driven by people who give the parking tickets, which no one likes. But this is a vehicle that does a lot of stop and start traffic. It idles a lot, so we converted that to 100% electric, so there's 0% emissions. Really, when we look at the big picture today, and I think this is what's unique to Colorado, is when you look at Pueblo up to Cheyenne, we have this unique strip of land that has a high concentration of the population. So state of Colorado has 4.8 million people. 55% of the population is actually concentrated in the 55-mile radius of Westminster. And, this is a state that has 5 hours of sunlight a day. It has an abundance of wind, has an abundance of geothermal. And if you look at the numbers, the state spent $2.8 billion on energy, just money that we spend and we never see it again. Mm-hmm. The idea behind the electric car is that you can use the solar power that's powering your house to also power your vehicle. And the benefit to that, again, is that the wealth is then created domestically. You're investing in our neighbors as opposed to sending money overseas to guard foreign energy supplies.
Keeping it local, keeping the money in the United States, that's what we really need for sure.
Wealth is defined by the control of a resource. And so the argument being that we have the sun. It's always been here and we're pissing it away. So the trick is if we can capture that energy and transfer it into our daily lives. I mean, the vision would be if you had a state where half the people were powered off solar, half the people were using electric vehicles, a war could break out somewhere outside of our borders, but yet, our mothers would be able to take the children to school. We wouldn't miss a beat, and that's what we're about. When you look at an electric vehicle, for example, it's a mobile energy device. So your house could be struck by lightning, the power could go out, you could call me up and I could come over with my car and jumpstart your house. At the same time, there's a lot of challenges in how we capture some of the renewable energy. Wind power, solar power, it really is an example of use it or lose it. And again, we believe and we know that the technology that we're developing in these vehicles, as they mature, can be scaled up. So again, there's a lot of anxiety about the future of what it holds, and quite frankly, we're convinced that there is options, and the options, and definitely in the state of Colorado, is the road to self-sufficiency and job creation actually go hand in hand. Where we're at today is, in the state of Colorado, 3,000 hybrids were sold last year. And we're asking anybody who would consider buying a hybrid to consider us first. If we can sell 50 of that 3,000, we're quite content. If you look historically at a lot of new technologies, new startups in this company, your sort of 2% market grows to a 20% market. And those are the kinds of people we want to build relationships with.
Well, Mike, as they say, show me what's under the hood. We got to take a look. Let's see what's going on here.
Well, normally you used to be seeing timing belts and dirty engines and oil filters. Let me just put the camera. What?
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
So that's it. And what's neat about these vehicles is, in fact, they are very simple.
All right, do you hear that? Do you hear that? Do you hear that? That's the thing. That's the beauty about these electric cars. They're so quiet. Let's take it for a spin. Let's take off. Smooth ride for sure. So what's one thing you want everybody to know that they don't already know?
I think that you have a choice. You have a choice. If you really are fed up and you ask yourself the question, yeah, but no. You just have to ask yourself the question, if you look at the news and you're really tired and feel helpless, what we're about is really giving you the power. You can actually do something. You can create a new reality. And that's really it.